Welcome to Season 2 of the Pull Hook Golf Podcast. Here's your hosts, Matt Cook and Bobby Brown.
Welcome back, everybody, to Pull Hook Golf, the podcast. I'm your host, Matt Cook. This is Bobby Brown. And man, is this just another great week for the PGA Tour, LIV Golf. We've got a lot going on here at Pull Hook Golf. Bobby, we're going to be diving right into the American Express recap. We're going to jump into the upcoming Farmers Insurance Open. I'm pretty excited about that one in particular. I used to live right over there when I lived in San Diego, so I love this tournament. You're home right now. We'll talk about that, and then we'll get right into LIV Golf. There's been a lot of news, a lot of drama going on once again, and you know, it might be the comeback kid. You never know. We're gonna talk about it though. But Bobby, why don't we start off with a nice little recap of your week last week? It didn't go great, but I mean, Jesus, man, the freaking cut was 11 under. Am I wrong there?
10 under. Oof. 10 under.
That's
but
deep.
Can I sell everybody that's all 300 people that listen to this that I do know what I'm talking about? Because you remember what I said on the last podcast, that I noticed the stadium course and the Nick course were a lot softer and a lot more receptive, and those trees, all those rows of trees were gone. Not that they were really in play or anything, but it was just it's set up for more scoring. And I hate to say it, but I called it and they showed it. I mean, Jon Rahm at 27 under gets it done, and I think 23 or 24 won the year before. But God, these fucking cuts that are fucking 10 out under just drive me crazy. Obviously my week wasn't good. Yeah, it's deep. I mean, obviously my week wasn't good, as you can tell by my mood and the bags under my eyes, but we got 3 rounds under our belt, so I guess that's a good thing. You don't really get paid for that. Thank God I was staying at mommy's house and it didn't cost me any money, and I think I used miles to fly for these 2 tournaments. So
that's a crafty play, Bobby. Crafty play.
You know, I've never been accused of being smart, but cheap I have been accused of. So anyways, our week wasn't great. You know, we were first off on the stadium course on Thursday at 8:30, chilly in the morning, ball not going very far. Everybody's used to that there. You know, my guy's super smart when it comes to that. And it was scrappy. And somehow he managed. He didn't look great at all, but somehow he managed to shoot 3 under. I told you, he put the gamer putter back in his bag, and I saw like all the left to right putts go in, and he made 5 putts, I think, outside 12 feet. So I thought the tide was turning because it was scrappy. It was kind of an ugly 3 under, but if you looked at scoring average for the week on the stadium course, I believe, Matt, it was like 69.5. So it's right where you had to be. And then second day we were 10-20 at La Quinta. And if any of the greens were firm, they were La Quinta, because I told you that the best greens on the PGA Tour were there. For some reason, they resurfaced on this after we finished this tournament here last year. So they were pure shit, dude, but they were bouncing, and we got off to, very first hole, number 10's a short little dog leg right to left. You just rifle a 2-iron in there and you hit a 9-iron. He pulled it short-sided, didn't get it up and down. Didn't short-side himself on one of the easiest par 5 in America, number 11 out there. And it's just like, I don't know, man, you got to shoot fucking minimum 4 or 5 under there. And it's funny, the last couple of years, other than when I was there a few years ago with Sungjae, I've never had anybody rip up La Quinta. And the years I worked here with Dustin, I never really had anybody rip up La Quinta. And it's tight, but it's so fucking gettable. It's not like, I don't want to say it's not like a tour courses or the stadium. Everybody talks, oh my God, I got to go play the stadium course and that kind of stuff. Can I just say something to somebody? And I hope I don't hurt people's feelings or anything, because Koreans on the golf course, and I might bury myself in the future, but it's fucking overrated. It's fucking overrated. You can tell I missed the cut, but you
are not happy.
Everybody goes there for, what does everybody go there for? 16, 17, and 18, 1 through 15 are every other fucking hole that you've seen in the desert 15 times, honestly.
They go for Coachella, Bobby.
Yeah, what? and some called Stagecoach. I hear there's a country western version of that too.
Yeah,
My mom
there is.
my mom doesn't like it, and all the old people there don't like it when Coachella rolls around because you
No,
can't
it's
buy any alcohol in that Ralph's there apparently. You got to go to Costco, and all the young whippersnappers don't go to Costco because they haven't figured out how to get a Costco card yet. All the partiers. So
expensive.
yeah, $60. It's exactly what they're paying for a gram of blow that week. Why not?
Touche.
But anyways, and then never say die. What it was, I think we shot 1 under at La Quinta. We were 4 under, and I knew,
Oh,
and
La
I knew,
Quinta.
yeah, fucking La Quinta, fuck me again. And I knew we had to get to 9. I knew we had to get to 10 under because it was teetering. I think after 2 days, the cut was 59 guys that were on pace to be 9 under, but it just gives it up. And then we played the Nick tournaments course, got off to a horrible start. He was playing with a good buddy of his, Chesson Hadley. He was laying sod everywhere too for 2 days. He actually finally got it going, and God, he almost made the cut after starting the day, I think at 2 under, and he finished at 7 or 8 under. So somebody got it going, but my guy was just not. I'm just gonna say it. Hope you're not listening, Troy, but he got the yips on the last day. And on right to lefters too. Like we came out, we knew we had to shoot 5 under, maybe 6 under, and we came out and stuffed it right off the first hole at the Nick tournament course first, and fuck, I'm like, it's on, and then hit it in the left rough, and there was not really any rough this year. It's like fucking playing out of fairway, and he short-sided himself and hit this he hit a shot. He putted it, but this green on number 2 is elevated. There's a lot of elevated greens there. And then you have that patch of that Pete Dye circle, like oval shaped, dormant shit that's kind of muddy and everything. And then you have a closely mown area, and he fucking short. It's like, he's over the shot. And I'm like, God, anywhere just left of the flag. And we talked about being left of the flag. And he short-sided himself. He had fucking nothing. He goes, I think I'm going to putt it through that dormant. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I think that's my only chance. If I bump it, because there's a slope, it's running away. He goes, if I bump it, it's muddy. And I kind of pointed out a spot. I'm like, you could kind of kill a bump right here. And he's like, I'm going to putt it. And he fucking putted it through that. It's funny with him, or with a lot of guys, that the harder the shot, the fucking focus level goes up through the roof. Yeah, you can put my man on a couple times at La Quinta where he's got a fucking chip shot off of short grass. It's not quite fringe, it's collarish, you know what I mean? That's 30 feet that me and you are going, fuck, I can make this, right? And he leaves him like 6 feet short, and I'm watching his action. I'm like, oh my God, he picked that club up immediately. Listen to me like I'm some fucking teacher now. But anyway,
Butch Harmon Jr. here.
Oh fuck, my point was number 2, he fucking putted that thing to like 3.5 fucking feet, and he fucking cold yanked this fucking putt that went like 7 feet by, and then he missed that, and we ended up making fucking double bogey. So I'm just like, oh fuck, here we go again. Pebble Beach is coming up soon, but we kept hanging in there and kept trying to make birdies, and never hit a little run. Like, my guy's real good with numbers and elevation, or lack of elevation, so he adds a lot of stuff in. Like he'll, like when he's talking about numbers, like, okay, a $143 hole where it's sea level, I'm gonna add 7, that puts me at 50, the wind's in, and then he'll go 56, 58, and I just say whether I like it or not. You know what I mean? If I think it's a little bit more, a little bit less, or a little bit more, I keep it very vague like that. So we got to the backside when we were kind of out of it. We were gonna have to make 5 or 6 birdies in a row, where we were short on one hole, came spinning down the hill, and it was kind of embarrassing with a little flip wedge. The next hole, and we had the famous caddy hating light and variable wind it's here for 3 miles an hour, and then it's there for 6, and then it's here for 8, and then it's behind you, and you're like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And it was like that almost all week, really. I will say the second day was pretty windy, and I'm still surprised. Well, the kids shot the lights out of it the second day. Davis went for another 8 under or something the second day, but everybody else was kind of where they needed to be at like 13 under, which is on pace there. Oh, after we sucked the wedge back off the front, that was embarrassing. Then we airmailed a fucking 7-iron over the green, which was double embarrassing. And I was just like, oh, Pebble Beach is coming up right around the corner. So do you understand what kind of week I had?
Bobby, it sounds rough, but I do want to take a second and go back to the putter out of that dormant rough. So question for you there.
Yeah.
You said he pulled off. Now, we've got a putt. This has been taught by Mark Wildison, who is a crafty son of a bitch, okay? And
Never heard of him.
not many people have, but he is a crowd. And if you will now, because
Well, I'm gonna
he's
Google
got
him
this
now.
pod that's called the Pennsylvania Pussy Popper. Okay. And what you do is you hit down into it, it pops it up and puts top spin on it.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Really pops it in there. So I'm just wondering, was that the technique that Troy used out of the dormant
I don't even know
rough?
what the fuck you're talking about,
Oh my God. You
but I
got
know
to
what you're
put the
talking
top spin
about.
on it.
Well, can I tell you something? These are the best players in the world. They don't have to do the Mark Wildebeest deal. I mean, what are you talking
The
crazy for?
Pennsylvania Pussy Popper.
Matt's had a rough night, ladies and gentlemen.
My tire blew on my car today. There was a lot of things going on. Bobby's like, "Are
As you can
you
see,
okay?"
his agent did finalize the multi-million-dollar Titleist deal, though, as you can see this week.
You're
So,
welcome, folks.
who makes the best rope hats in the business?
Oh
It's
my God.
Titleist
I mean,
by
look
far.
at this
Yeah.
silky rope on top. That is
Did
unbelievable.
I send that one to you? That
You
doesn't look like.
did.
Oh God, I need that back. I don't
I
even have
know.
a navy.
This one is sexy. This one I wear quite a bit.
I'm gonna go clean up on that son of a bitch at Pebble Beach
Look at that.
when we come up.
We
But
got the Pro V1 on one side. We
yeah,
got the FootJoy on the other. We've got
so back. You got the
a
Titleist
cushion
back
on the
in
back.
too?
I
Do you know
can't
what all
turn
that
around
means?
right now.
Do you know what that all that means, folks? You start bidding at $35 on that hat on eBay, and you could get as much as 50 to 75, depending on what Korean really needs the tour release hat. And if anybody want to cut the deal, I got about 25 of them in my closet, and I'm taking off first to
It's
make
got the
up for
patch
missed
on the back
bucks.
too, folks. Hit me up on Instagram, Matt Cook Golf.
Are we done with Mark Wildebeest now and the top
We
spin
are.
for
Well, I
it?
was just wondering if that was the putt that Troy pulled off. Which, by
Oh,
the way, I'm not
yeah,
gonna lie. This
yeah,
guy, when he pulls this putt off, and he pulls it off all the time, out of the
yeah,
rough, out
yeah.
of like
Right.
fringe / fairway, he gets it within about 3 feet every single time.
So what does his resume look like as far as winning golf tournaments and being in contention
Yeah, no, there's
back
none of
there?
that. No,
Yeah.
no, no. He's
So
just a
he's one of
crafty
these
guy.
guru guys that sits around a putting green for 3 or 4 hours and learns all these shots. I used to do that with
Yeah.
the 60 degrees. I blow my friend's mind because I could take a full swing and throw it up in the air, lefty Phil Mickelson style. And I do it on a chipping green at a Muni and that kind of stuff. And everybody turned around and they go, "Look at this motherfucker." Then they go watch me tee off with my fucking sawed off finish with the driver to cut it 60 yards. And then they go, "Man, I think you can chip and putt." That's about it.
So hang on. Final verdict here. Was there
What?
any topspin on that putt that Troy hit from the
No,
dormant rough?
there was
No
a four-footer that
topspin.
he ran fucking 7 feet
Ah,
behind. Missed that coming back for fucking double
gosh.
bogey. End
You
of
hate
story.
to
Looked
see
at
it,
like
Bobby.
that.
You hate
Well,
to
it
see it.
happens. It's golf. It's so funny. I was just talking to my son on the phone. He was just down in the Bahamas for the first two Corn Ferry Tour events, and he's got the best player on the Corn Ferry Tour who's getting over a broken bone in his hand that he had surgically removed, Pearson Cootie.
Yeah.
All you real golf people out there would know him from Texas. He just dominated for 4 years, along with his twin brother Parker. But he's like, they missed the cut, and their scoring average on. You okay? Is there like a mosquito flying around or something, or what?
No,
Oh,
just this looked weird for
touching
some
your
reason.
thing. He's on the sauce again, folks. There's a surprise. Must be Tuesday night. Anyways, I was
is.
giving you some emotional caddy stuff, father to son shit, right?
Oh shit! We're
So
deep motivational speech.
I'm watching their scorecards, and I think my guy's not playing par fives good. And then I'm watching this Pearson Cootie in 4 rounds, and I think he's about 6 fucking over par on par fives, which last time I checked, you're supposed to get those. So my son's like, "I'm so frustrated," and I go, "Listen, kid, can I just tell you, summarize our job for us? Because you've been doing this fucking 4 years now." I go, "Our job is 20 weeks of frustration, really, isn't it? It's 20 weeks of frustration. It's 3 or 4 fantastic weeks and six shiny happy people weeks or something like that, So you just put the pedal to the metal and you keep going and you keep working and outworking everybody else, which Troy doesn't do. And everything will be good things come to it's that Tom Brady shit I talk about all the time, man in the arena,
Oh
right?
wow, you went man in the arena on your son today?
I do it all the time.
Oh.
I said, man in the arena. I do it to the fucking soccer team.
You did do it to the
Like,
soccer
man
team,
in
but
the
that's
arena.
legendary.
I'm like
I
Tom
mean,
Brady, and then they all perk up.
our
So,
audience knows James
yes.
Island champ, bro.
That one listener. that was pretty cool. Let's scroll down this Amex leaderboard because
Yeah, I mean, take us through it.
I've never known the dominant best player in the world to still be ranked number 3 in the official world golf rankings. Because
oh God, you sound like Peter Costas right now.
Well, I don't have a fucking backpack and a fucking Minolta shot tracker version and telling you how it was done in 1968. It's just fucking, straight shooting shit. But he is, the good news about this world ranking is a guy like mine has been off form for 5 months and we're still somewhere in the 90s in the world ranking. So it should tell you
That's
that
good.
it's skewed. And Jon Rahm is by far the best player in the world right now. And all these people on social media are like, Dustin Johnson's not the 43rd best player in the world. And we're like, yeah, I'm like, yeah, no shit. Tell me something I don't know. We all know he's a fucking top. I'm not going to say if he had his shit together, yes, he's a top 10 player. Would he ever be number one in the world again? No, he'd never be number one in the world again because he's fucking over it. And he plays on LIV. So he can't ever be number one in the world. Can I go over this leaderboard now?
Yeah, please do.
The
Rambo.
big giant quesadilla gets it done. 4 under on Sunday, shoots 27 under. The fucking kid hangs in there, gets beat a shot, 26 under, doesn't pull a flag stick out on the fucking 35 or 40 footer on 17 and doinks. And that was not going 100 miles an hour. Listen, I'm going to say this, 70 to 80% of those guys outside 30 feet all leave the flag stick in now. It's not a question of like, you're fucking stupid for leaving the flag stick in or you're fucking dumb or whatever. It should never be in. Well, tell that to Adam Scott or tell that to the dude that won the US Open last year, Fitzy. You know, if flag stick in or flag stick out, you can make a case that there's less room for the ball to go in. But I've never seen anybody burned on a putt, and I'm sure that putt of Davis Thompson's might have gone in. But fact is, we'll never know. Want a little Davis Thompson story? Want a little Davis Thompson story?
I would love one.
You know what's good about this kid? His dad is the tournament director at the RSM at Davis Love's course. So he's a Sea Island guy. He was a fucking stud out of Georgia. I think he came out early. He got an exemption 2 years ago when we played a practice round with him, and I knew who he was from following. There's a website called golfstat.com. It lists every college tournament I'm on it twice a week minimum, you know, especially in hotel rooms when I'm bored. So I knew who this kid was, and we watched him play a practice round, and I told Troy, I go, this kid's got some kind of talent. He goes, yeah, does he smile? And I'm like, no, he doesn't smile. He just never smiles, which is kind of a turn off / turn on because he's always in his fucking lane and he looks bitter and he looks mad. But I think that's just his way of being focused, right? And he's filled out in the last 2 years. He's about 6'2" or 6'3". He's thickening up, looking very athletic. He's looking the part. So at Sony on Sunday, we played with him, and he got off to a rocket start. He was like 5 under through 6 holes and didn't sustain his rally and was kind of, you know, I'm gonna step on some thin ice here with his caddy. I don't even know his name, but he's popular on social media because he's called Dynamite. Do you know this Dynamite guy that gives out sports betting tips and that kind of stuff? He's super popular. He's a great guy. He's hilarious. I think he is a guy, he is probably my age. He started caddying a few years ago, just randomly. He's from Raleigh. He's a member of some nice sick clubs there. So I know he's got some dough. He came out with a guy from back east. You might know the name Rob Oppenheim, who's been back and forth to the PGA Tour a few times. And he's just a great dude. Everybody loves him. He's got a kick-ass social media site. He's starting to wear, you know, sell apparel and that kind of stuff. I'm getting ahead of myself. But this kid would miss a putt after he's 5 or 6 under, and he's having these fucking meltdowns down there. And I was just like, I was talking to another caddy walking back, and I'm like, that kid is fucking some kind of talent. And then he's in this caddy's like, oh, he's the guy I'm talking about, Dynamite. Now he's just a bag carrier, and he doesn't get in there and that kind of stuff, which I kind of did notice a little bit on Sunday at Sony, you know, because when it comes to these, how can I summarize this? The Dynamite guy that's caddying for Davis Thompson better put on a fucking full metal jacket, armor, shield, because the fucking sharks are coming for that kid's bag soon. And there's plenty of sharks swimming around out there. So I don't know how he did or anything with him, you know, under pressure, because I was busy on the golf course with split tees. I didn't get to see much of it other than on the computer. And the kid's a future stud, right? I mean, he's just a fucking stud. He reeks of it, the way he carries himself. And I think it's like racehorses. This kid's bred to be a champion, right? And so we'll see how it goes with him. So that's my Davis Thompson spiel and I wouldn't say shit on Dynamite, but I do notice a lot of things about other caddies, and he hasn't been caddying that long. And I think at some point when you caddy that long and you see that stuff costing your own guys shots, that you go in there and you fucking take a shot and you say something, right? You fucking say something, whether it's super nice and sugar-coated ass kissing, or sometimes the best way to do it is get about 6 inches from their face and fucking tell him, stop fucking around. You're Davis fucking Thompson. Start acting like it, which maybe
See,
he did.
that's the type of shit I need. I don't
Yeah,
need the
you need to
positive
get in
kind of
there.
booster. Hey, you're doing great out there. Keep it together. I need the,
Yeah.
hey, you are a piece of shit right now. You need to lock it in.
I didn't say that, but
Well, that's fair.
but you know,
But
but you know what I mean. I've been with those kind of guys. I've been with plenty of those guys before. And I almost feel like that's kind of my specialty. And I almost feel like I'm a little handcuffed with Troy because he doesn't want any of that 10 years later. And I'm sure that's why he got rid of his last caddy, for being a rah-rah guy. And sometimes I walk off the golf course, like when we had a bad day, and I'm like, man, I just want to fucking get in there, and not be like, okay, come on, let's get it going. Or, we've got there's 37 holes left, or whatever it is to say. I want something more in depth, but he doesn't like that. So I gotta stay in my
stay in your
lane.
lane.
I'm going to get
Well,
back.
Dynamite did have some sick AJ1s on, the classic Chicago's.
He's
So,
copying me.
well, I mean,
No, of
listen,
course
you're
he
a
did.
good guy to copy.
Were they the high tops or the low
No,
tops?
they were the lows. They were
Yeah,
the
those are the
AJ1
lows. So let me
lows.
give you he wore those on Sunday too. And I go, nice shoes. Little do I know that they're all AJ1 lows are nice shoes, but they're not really nice if they're still available 2 months later on the Nike website.
Ooh,
And they're still available,
wow.
and you can get them under retail on
Not the original Chicago's.
well, and you know that if you maybe hung on to them, because what you just said, in the sneakerhead world, anything with Chicago colors historically
Yep.
goes through the roof. But I think there's so many of them out there now that, they look good on him though. And I shouldn't be talking shit, because I walked out of there grossing a couple grand, and he walked out of there grossing 56 to 58 grand. He probably doesn't even need the money. But
Damn.
it was a good week for him, and it's going to prep this kid for big things in the future. Going back down the leaderboard, Xander went fucking Yahtzee on Sunday, ends up getting beat 2 shots, makes that fucking albatross, on a pin that you don't even fucking go after. I think he pushed it. He had to push it. I think he pushed it. He shoots 10 under, runs by fucking everybody on Sunday. Chris Kirk is on fire for 2 weeks. He had a chance at Sony late, another 8 under by him on Sunday to finish tied for third at 25 under. Bobby Brown's official called it 30 days ago, rookie of the year. He could stop playing right now and he'll be rookie of the year. Taylor Montgomery, another fucking top 5.
Our Shanker. Oh man, did you see
I don't
that?
even know what you're talking about.
Oh my gosh, in contention.
I've done
coming
that
down
before.
the
All the great
stretch,
ones do
the
it.
par
Happy
3.
to.
The
Was what this
broadcast
thing he
team.
rinsed it on 17? He shanked it on 17?
Yeah, he shanked it on 17 into
Do you
the
understand
water.
Spanish, Matt? Muy
Yeah.
nervoso. Means very fucking nervous. Hey, that's one of my good buddies on his bag. We call him D-Woo. His name's Darren Woolard, right? And he came out with Piercy years ago, and Piercy won 3 or 4 times with it. But D-Woo likes to do some talking. This is who Micah replaced for Piercy when Piercy was in the mix there at Minnesota and botched that big lead. But D would like to do some talking, but he's a good golfer. He is the number one. His history is, because I know this is half a caddy show, his history is he is the man at Shadow Creek, where Taylor Montgomery's dad is head golf professional and or director of golf. So if you're ever out at if you're ever out at Shadow Creek, he's a legendary caddy there. We stay together at Riviera this year, which is coming up in a few weeks.
Can't wait.
There last year, we will again. And I like him because I like all my clothes kind of pressed, and I've always burnt clothes with irons, and he turned me on to a steamer, and I know I travel with a nice little $15 steamer. Moving down the leaderboard.
Hey, by the way, that is a classic move.
The steamer.
You travel well.
Yes.
When you have a steamer. I got picked on for years because of this, but it is the best move you can make traveling.
Yes.
A little mini steamer.
$15 at Target. Went through 3 of them last year because I figured I was going to be overweight baggage. So I just kept fucking leaving them in hotel rooms and buying another one. You're welcome, that hotel in New Orleans. That one was $40. Whoever the little lady was that cleaned the room and got that. Down the leaderboard, your boyfriend finished T6. Tom Kim, fresh off that miscut at Sony, went for 5 under on Sunday and was 25 under. I'm going to throw a name at you that is for people to watch that came up, got some exemption, got through Ferry Tour finals. And I've talked about him before because we have a good amateur turn. His name's Matty Schmidt, and he is from Germany, but he was a superstar at Louisville. And I think I told you back in the Mikey Perez days when we were talking about young players to watch, I went and watched this kid because my guy, my agent buddy, represents him, and we have this amateur tournament called the Azalea here in Charleston. And went out and watched him play 9 holes, and I'm like, oh, here's another one, 6'4", Ich spreche Deutsch, motherfucker, German dude that fucking ships it, and he fucking finished T6 and shot 8 under, tied with Tommy Kim. Big names, Finau, 21 under, solid week, T16. He's going to win that thing one year. I really do. So if the putter's going, you know, Sungjae was in the mix to win again. You know, a couple of years ago, there was, I worked for him. We were leading all week long, and we were in the final group with Finau. I think we started the day with a 2 or 3 shot lead, made a birdie right off the bat, and he was 1 drive away. I'm convinced on number 9. He made a bad double hit and 1 in the water there, but he backpedaled again. Sungjae, for as good as he is, doesn't win as much as he should, right? So is it him getting mad, or now I'm starting to think, is it him because he can't fucking communicate, and he can't have the kind of caddy with his attitude to come in and speak something to fucking get him to pull his head out of his ass, right, Mike? And I'm convinced when I worked for him that was the reason. And you're never going to find a Korean caddy that's going to be as good or know the golf course as good as American caddies, because American caddies are born and bred in the USA, and they take their job seriously, and we are the best in the world. So Sungjae, T18, I guess it's good on paper, but it's not good enough for him. Little 6 under T22, and we'll get into our penny bet later, but you guys, don't call it a comeback. Mr. Brian Harmon fan over there, who I talked him right into Brian Harmon being my favorite golfer, and you took the bait, beat man out of 1,000. Cantlay T26, disappointing for him. Willie Zalatoris, another tournament under his belt, T36, right? 16 under, played pretty solid on Sunday, shot 5 under, which is a couple better than par to me out there. So that's Bobby Brown's Amex rundown. Jon Rahm, best player in the world, like fucking borderline unbeatable right now, right? And it was funny, we had to play with fucking amateurs for 3 days last week, right?
Really?
And you rotate amateurs, so you don't have the same guys every time, right? So we get our guy on the first day when we actually shot 3 under. Can't remember his name. He's from fucking Jersey. Your kind of guy, right? But he was a fucking horrible golfer. Shouldn't even been playing in the thing. He's trouncing everybody's line. And Troy was on 14, and he just hit it into the left rough. And it's this tiny little green. We had trouble with this green last year. You probably saw it with Jon Rahm on TV. He had also hit it in the left rough over there and hit it over the green. Somehow got it up and down. But it's a tiny little, I'm going to say it's 23 yards deep and probably 13 yards across with the slope running through the middle of it. So Troy's in the left rough, little gap wedge. We're just kind of Sammy safetying it, you know. And he gets to the top, and this fucking guy's staying 10 yards away from us, and he gives the big old, clears his throat, right? Troy's like avoiding a car crash. Misses the green short, dumps it, impossible up and down. Somehow, there goes my theory again. Somehow on an impossible up and down, hits it into fucking dick length. And taps it in. But it's so funny. Troy didn't even finish his swing, and he goes, let me guess who that was. You know, Troy Merritt, I've never heard him drop maybe 3 F-bombs in 45 tournaments on the golf course, and he dropped an F-bomb, you know, and I was like a fucking rabid pit bull, because I'm like, can I get him? I wanted to get him so bad, right? Can I get him? He's like, no, you can't get him. And I'm like, actually, I could get him if I wanted to get him, and I don't need your permission, because I'm so upset right now if you didn't make that putt. Would have got him. Amex rundown, Bobby B out.
Well, the only other thing that I do have to mention that you missed was the Davis Thompson pull hooks. I mean, he had 2 down
on
the
16,
stretch.
On 16, yeah, that could be nerves too. You know, those guys, that 16 tee shot, they put us way back. We had never been back on that 600-yard tee in years, and they had us back there last year. Right. But it's still, because it was firm, it was still hittable for everybody. Like, we hit a 3-wood first day pin high right, which is not an easy chip shot, but you're up there next to the green, and you think you're going to get it within 12 or 15 feet. But that could be a little bit of nerves too. But I did notice that's his miss a little bit, huh? I saw that at Sony as a little left miss. But my point was, those super bombers, and I'm going to classify him as super bombers, they got to cheat it left a little. Because it's probably the difference between hitting a hybrid in or possibly hitting a 4-iron in. Isn't that crazy? From 600 yards,
that is nuts.
A 4 or a 5, you know, or else he was giving us props on pull hook.
I would love to think that he was just giving us props out there, just like, hey, I'm getting some good TV time.
Yeah.
I don't need the money. I'm still young. Let me go ahead
Right.
and just rip a couple pull hooks and,
Yeah.
finish up at second.
And you could think that this kid was no fucking scaredy cat, and he's like, I'm gonna blow it right over that fucking 290-yard fucking corner and hit
I
5
think
iron
it was that.
and try and win the golf tournament. So fucking hats off to him.
Yeah.
Do you know that if this show was called anything from pull hook, I would be decorated like a Korean caddy, from fucking shorts monogrammed up to my fucking huevos, up to my arm in pull hook. But I cannot fucking walk around there with a pull hook for the best players in the world to see. So shame on you.
Do we need a name change, Bobby?
Slider golf, just everybody likes a little slider.
Slider golf.
Slider golf.
Somebody's gonna come up with that now because
there were other golf tournaments. Am I supposed to take over because there's other golf tournaments going on in the world too? Do you want to?
The Corn Ferry was down in the Bahamas. Why don't
Yeah,
you
I don't
give
know
us a
much
little...
about that. I know the kid
Okay.
from Texas A&M is a stud. I know Super Cat, self-proclaimed, my buddy who I love ripping on, the Twitter guy, Kip Henley, who still says to everybody, won the big break, what a great player he was. We know you're not a great player. He was down there, but he was like going, it's funny, he's never done a Corn Ferry fucking tour in his life. I did it for fucking 2 years. I dove down numerous times, not because I had to, but because I had an opportunity to see the future, and I had a few young guys and I wanted to make their agents happy. And I love going down there 2 or 3 weeks out of the year. And that's why I go and do these finals, is because you like to see what's up and coming, because in this business, in my business, Matt, nothing lasts forever, right? You're 1 week away or one shot away from getting a raise or getting the hoop. And it's usually you get the hoop 99 times out of 100 and you don't get the raise. So anyways, my point was, this fucking Kip Henley's down there, and he's like, his guy played like shit. He probably made $27 in commission, but he got educated on how hard these Corn Ferry Tour players work, because it's a fucking fortune to go to the Bahamas, right? It's a fucking fortune to stay anywhere at the Bahamas. And he's like, well, here's my takes from the first Corn Ferry Tour event, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, I saw 20 guys that were locks. And I'm like, what a fucking idiot to say that, because say that to Akshay Bhatia, who destroyed everybody in the first event last year and did not get his card. And I'm just like, how do people come up with these fucking comments? Because there is no such thing as a fucking lock on the Corn Ferry Tour. There's 100 guys you would watch swing and you would think that they were fucking locked. So I always have to air out my dirty laundry on Kip Henley. Nothing drives me more crazy is that fucking guys that think they're these world-class players, that they know everything, that really don't know fucking jack shit, right? So go back to teaching, Kip. That's what your fucking, that call is. And by the way, you played fucking 4 rounds out there and you got paired with 2 other guys each time. That's 8 guys you got to see up close. Where'd the other fucking 12 come from? I used to rip on Perez like this, but now I have to fucking steer it all to Kip Henley because you told me to tone it down a little bit. And Liv's not starting, and Perez and Ashley haven't made fools of themselves, though. Although I did send you that nice picture of Ashley Perez early in the week.
Oh, boy.
Impressive. And I'd like to take this moment to thank that wonderful listener of ours for sending us that message, that lives in the Pat Perez Greyhawk neighborhood.
Oh, my God.
Thank you for that information, sir. Please reach out to me at Bobby Brown Golf so I can send you a Christmas card with a $5 bill and a Troy Merritt signed Titleist in it, and maybe one of those hats Matt's got, because you made my fucking day by sending that, bro.
That was fantastic. Just some great insight about the old Greyhawk house. I mean, just fantastic stuff out of him. So thank you for that. One of the neighbors, Bobby. So absolutely fantastic stuff. Someday we'll get into that.
Yeah.
That might be part of a premium subscription for Pole Hook Golf right there. But yeah, that's fantastic. But with the Corn Ferry,
it's like those nasty bitches on social media when you pull up their pictures and stuff like that. But if you want the really good ones, you got to subscribe and everything.
Yeah, it's called OnlyFans, Bobby.
Oh, it is? Hope the future wife's not hearing this. You probably look at your phone every night anyways.
Oh, my gosh. He absolutely does. She's a savage.
Hey, there was, wait, let me go. Let me just fire. There's another the European Tour, the DP World Tour, is getting into full swing with their big tournament starting off the year. And it was the Abu Dhabi Championship last week, and this big thoroughbred, another fucking thoroughbred. There's a common theme. Victor Perez has been around for a while, and I had a firsthand look of him dismantling Sungjae at the match play, you know, a couple years, like 6 and 5, made this fucking horrendous, this unbelievable bunker shot, sucked it in, spun it back to win the golf tournament over our guy, Min Woo Lee.
Sounds aggressive.
Padraig Harrington finished 4th. He can still go, obviously. And you know, that guy that you didn't think was very consistent that I like so much, Alex Noren, perhaps you've heard of him, another top 5.
I don't want to talk about it, Bobby. That was one of my embarrassing moments.
Let's get to the best part, because they had live guys in this tournament, like 6 of them, right? So anybody that thinks that the live tour is like all these superstars other than DJ and Cam Smith and maybe Jocko Neiman or something like that, but he probably got 50 million and could give a fuck anymore. But let me run down the live guy leaderboard.
Oh boy.
Okay. Best player tied for 20th. Good job, Henrik Stenson. Not a very strong field either. Bernd Wiesberger had it going. T50. Way to go, brother. Lee Westwood. Great guy. Funny as shit. Super attractive older wife. T56. Great job. Ian Poulter fucking came from the fucking clouds and finished 60th. Might be his best finish in the last 4 months. He is probably just waiting for the Netflix documentary to drop, so he's probably a little preoccupied so everybody can see his house and all his Ferraris and all his shit.
It is kind of sick though.
Nobody loves Ian Poulter more than Ian Poulter, and I think he loves himself more than his kids love him. Couple missed cuts out there. Sam Horsfield, who is actually kind of a fucking stud, but he probably got $20 million and he doesn't give a fuck. And you know that American cheater dude that keeps suing everybody? What's his name?
Gosh, I can't quite think of it.
Patrick Reed.
Oh,
Patrick Reed. Holy shit. Nice miscut him. He was a fucking million over too. So good job on you live guys. You really are the best players in the world on the second best tour in the world. And you can mix it up. All those guys are going right back again in Dubai this week, but there is there's a Triple Crown winner in there. I think you've heard of him. It's Rory McIlroy. So
good old Roars.
Steve Carter, Harding, Justin Reed, Stenson, Horsfield, Ian Schmolter, they're all in that field again. And then I think in a couple of weeks, all there's something in Saudi Arabia or something where all the live guys are going to play right before Mayakoba. And I'm not sure what the name of that tournament is, but that was the other golf besides the Corn Ferry Tour. And I'm going to go on record by saying I told you when I did these Corn Ferry Tour finals, I'm going back to that now with that kid, Carter Jenkins from North Carolina. He's not a kid. He was a stud at North Carolina, and then he tore ligaments in his wrist, didn't pick up a club for almost 2 years, right? And I told you, I'm going to say it again. This guy is the greatest package of golf with shots that I've seen since fucking Dustin Johnson up close. And he came out of the gates on his fucking rookie event and finished T for 13, which is huge because now he shuffles up with all those guys with only 8 guaranteed starts, right? All that new class. So he went through the roof. He's fucking playing good again this week. They finish tomorrow. Remember, Matt? They do those Sunday through Wednesdays.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And he's T17. I don't think he has a chance to win, but I know him. You know what? Besides being an athlete and having all these shots, and I was just fucking floored. I told you on the first 9 holes, he was 6 fucking over par, right? He made like 25 birdies through the week, and he ended up getting his card on the number at 3. And he played the last 60 some odd holes in 9 under par, which would have blown the doors off the field if you just played the tournament 60 some holes. So everybody out there, remember that name, Bobby Brown, guaranteed stamp of approval, like a filet mignon with the old purple.
Say it one more time. What was the name?
Carter Jenkins, and he's got a great attitude. And you want to know why? I asked him, I go, why do you we were 6 over par and we got to this hole, we turned to this hole number 1 where you don't hit driver, but he fucking chips it like 320, and we got up to the tee and it's just a 5 iron off the tee, and caddy instinct comes up and he goes, what do you like here? And I go, we're 6 over par. And this is where I'm talking about caddy and being a caddy and coming in. And I'm not giving myself props, but we got up to that tee and I go, you want to know something? I don't care how bad of a day somebody's having. There is a shot in the round that can dictate how things can change. I go, you fucking smoked driver down there. And it was a back pin, right? And he smoked driver down there about 10 yards short of the fucking front edge. I'm giving myself a little credit here.
Yeah,
and
you are.
Fucking hit it he chipped it to Dick's length. And then he made birdies after that, 23 of them or something like that. And it's funny. And after it was all said and done, and he said something to me, he goes, you saying that changed the whole round. And I wasn't going to take credit for that because I'm not hitting the shots. He's hitting the shots. And I go, why do you have such a good attitude? He goes, I fucking knew I was going to be a really good professional golfer coming out of North Carolina. And he goes, and I couldn't pick up a club for 2 years. What do I have to be mad about? what could upset me more than that, than sitting around the house and watching other people play golf and waiting 18 months to even put a putter in my hand after surgery. So
Wow.
even more reason to put some stock into Carter Jenkins.
Great
So
mindset. God,
yeah,
fuck, I wish
right.
I had that mindset.
No
Jeez. I
shit.
used to back when I never played, and now
I
all of a
got
sudden you
you.
start playing a lot more and
You
you
know
start
what? You
getting
know what else I
frustrated.
wanted to mention on these European things? With the Ryder Cup coming around the corner, has anybody noticed that Sepp Straka and Seamus Power are playing over there in Europe the last 2 or 3 weeks, and the next two? And I don't think it's
Hmm.
because they want to get in the mix for the FedEx Cup and whatever their Rolex Cup is for the extra money, their version of the FedEx Cup. You know why they're over there is because Luke Donald is playing in these tournaments and he's grooming them. I guarantee you they're being groomed to be possible Ryder Cup. Well, Seamus Power is going to be in the Ryder Cup team from Ireland for sure. He played at East Tennessee State, and we all know how good he's been doing here for almost 2 years now. Sepp Straka has been playing fantastic, a big old bomber from Austria. So I'm convinced the Bobby Brown theory is that Luke Donald wants to keep an eye on them for 4 or 5 weeks to see if they're Ryder Cup worthy. I mean, they can't play with our guys for sure, day in and day out, but it just goes to show you that everybody's like, oh, we can't, the LIV guys, we can't play in the Ryder Cup. And it's like, who wants fucking Stenson was going to be captain, but Wiesberger, Westwood, Poulter, those days, Wiesberger's hit and miss. He's hot and cold, Poulter will tell you he's the greatest Ryder Cup player ever for Europe, and he's not. Sergio is, to tell you the truth. And those guys are all has been. So you can all see the fucking influx of these young guys coming up from Europe. So I think really in, God, a few years, maybe a couple Ryder Cups away, that maybe Europe is going to have something to say about it. But we're so fucking good, USA,
We
we're
are
so
pretty good.
We're fucking 20 or 25 deep of Ryder Cup players. What you want to talk about next? Corey Schnauf?
Oh, so just one correction here. So
What?
they do not have a Saudi event to start off the live schedule.
Well, they're all playing in
They've
something
got
that's an Asian
Mexico.
tour. It's an Asian tour event. They're
Oh,
playing in
okay.
an Asian tour event. You got to do your home. Well, I've said this before, and you beat me out of 1,000 pennies. You got to do your
Yeah.
homework and your
Yeah,
research, Matt.
you
They're
calm it
all
down there, Bobby.
they're all playing in 2 weeks. Every single player on the LIV tour is playing in this Asian tour, co-sanctioned something.
Not Dustin Johnson.
Dustin
Dustin
Johnson
Johnson.
is playing.
Is
He
he?
is playing.
No effing
Yeah, he's
way.
playing.
God, he's got so much
Only
money. Why
part
is
of it.
he playing?
No, because you remember, isn't LIV is partnered with that Asian tour,
Oh,
right?
you're
Remember the
right.
PGA tour got the Korean
Now I understand why
Yes,
you're
it's all
making
about
it
fucking-
I got you. It's a clusterfuck. I got
Yes,
you.
yes. It's fucking ball
Makes a
of
lot of
steel.
sense now that you put that
It
all
all
together
goes
for me.
it all goes together. You know what they start tomorrow, right? At Torrey Pines, they do the Wednesday, Saturday thing now because they don't want to fucking face off get buried in the fucking ratings with the AFC and NFC championship game coming on next week, which I think is a fantastic idea. But you play Sony, you play American Express, and now you're a fucking Tory, right? So this is when it fucking starts. These are big boy golf courses. You got Torrey Pines, you got Pebble Beach. I mean, I don't care what you say about fucking Scottsdale. Nobody shoots fucking 40 under there. I don't know if I'd put it a big boy course, but it's a special tournament and it's 20 million fucking kahunas. And then you go to fucking Riviera, and then you go to Honda, and you have Tampa and the Players and Bay Hill, and you are just rolling into the fucking big boy golf courses, not the fucking Sony and not the fucking La Quinta Invitational. So this is exciting. This is exciting for me because it's Torrey South and it holds majors, and it is a fucking 7,600 yard, unbelievable fucking wear you out golf course with 3 to 7 inch rough. In some places they had 5 inches of rain in the last 2 to 3 weeks there at Torrey, and you know what that does to that fucking rough there. They have sick pure Poana greens. They shut the course down. Everybody plays the North Course one round, and remember, everybody used to shoot their ball be 9, 10, 11 under.
They renovated
59
that.
watch every year. They had enough of that. Tom Weiskopf came in. He redesigned a few holes. He brought those fucking fairways into as tight, if not tighter, to the South Course to defend that. He reworked the greens. They're firm as shit. If you shoot 3 under par there, you've played fucking fantastic golf. And you got the best player in the world playing. Jon Rahm, who won a US Open there. And man, he's just going to be so He's going to be so tough to beat. Luke List beat Zalatoris, remember, last year in that fucking playoff there. But this is it's a major golf course, and it's super exciting. And I'm so bummed, Matt, that I'm not there, because I spent so much time living in Encinitas and living on 26th Street in Del Mar with all my golf before I started golfing. And I played, you know, I fucking worked in a shop at Loma Santa Fe Country Club. I was playing golf every single day with members. And that's back when golf was, that's back when golf was fun. So I'm bummed that I'm not there, because I'm a Poana guy, and I've probably been out there with tournament rounds a minimum of a fucking 100 times. And you memorize those greens like you memorize them at Pebble Beach. And it's just a fucking brute. And it's a beast. And from what I hear, the shape, you could get 9 under could win this week. 9 to 14 under is probably going to win this week, to tell you the truth. So I'm looking forward to a good field. I mean, obviously Rahm, the Koreans play good there. Siwoo and Sungjae always play good there. Like I said, Luke List, it helps to move it out there, right? It helps to move it. Xander's in the field. No Cantlay in the field. And I'm stalling out right now. I'm stalling out for some reason. I'm stalling out.
Well, I just want to know. So the
What?
audience doesn't know. I know, but why aren't you at Torrey this week?
Because Troy doesn't like Torrey. But I'm going to tell you, I was sharing this little story to him when we were floundering there with 3 or 4 holes to go and we weren't going to make the cut. I go, I got an idea. Can we fucking ditch this fucking tournament and go to a fucking big boy golf course where 9 to 14 under is going to win? Because Troy, attitude is so good on those hard golf courses, is that you're a shot or 2 shots better before everybody else, almost everybody else, before you tee it up, because your attitude's so good. Because you're going to see guys bitching and moaning and literally hacking it out of the rough 20 yards sideways every now and then. So I don't know, when you come from Honolulu, it's so convenient to go to American Express. But then again, you can't play 6 weeks in a row if you're a guy like him. You got to throw something out. But my point was, I think he was like, he's played American Express the last 9 times. I think he's made the cut 1 time. The last nine times he's played at Torrey, he hasn't had a great finishes, but he's made the cut 33% of the time, 3 out of 9. He's a Poana putting specialist. I'm a Poana guy. He made the cut in the U.S. Open. There's something to be said about that. If you finish 40th or 41st at Torrey Pines in the U.S. Open, you're happy, right? You've had a good week. Anytime you're at a major, you're a world-class player, and it's exciting. Anytime you make the cut and play on the weekend, it just gets doubly more exciting, whether you're 50th or 15th or 5th. The pressure is still the same and the vibe's still the same. They get fucking awesome. They get awesome crowds out there. It's you've been around Torrey a lot. Scripps is right there. There's tons of people that come out after they get off of work early on Friday, right? And they come out and they start fucking boozing, and Friday being the 3rd day, and then Saturday's the last day. I'm sure ticket sales are going through the fucking roof, because San Diego has some of the best golf around, right? It really fucking does. You can go up and down the coast. Some of the private clubs there, and Torrey's a fucking muni. I mean, anybody can go play that. I remember back in my younger days, my super party days, we were residents there, right? So they had this honor system that if you pull in the parking lot, that's how you get on. If you don't have a tee time, you have to go in order. So you pull in. They start at midnight, right? They start at midnight, and the first one in puts his lights on, and he gets into a spot in his car. And then when the second guy gets in, then the first guy turns his lights off, and you do this light thing with your car. And it was just, I mean, no sleep going out and playing Torrey Pines South.
It's not a
better way to cure a marching powder hangover or whatever, and
Listen,
then you go,
that Bloody Mary on that first tee is delicious.
I told you I know what I'm talking about. Is Jon Rahm going to get beat? Or do we have a 3-peat? Didn't I say that I thought only 2 guys were going to win multiple times this year? I got
you
one
did
half
last week after I called you out because you said nobody was going to win multiple times.
No, I didn't. You were wrong. I was right.
Why is that?
You were shocked that I said that only 2 guys, Rahm and Cantlay. You thought there would be 4 or 5 guys. I think your quote was, Tom Kim not going to win multiple times?
I think Tom Kim's going to win multiple times.
Oh, fuck off.
Hey, we're going to say, I can't wait.
He's got, you might be right about that, actually. Because I guess we do have to count the fall, right?
Let's give you your kudos for a second.
Okay, give me my kudos.
You baited me
Jesus.
over the past like month and a half, 2 months about how much you love Brian Harmon. And I got roped right in with the Tony Finau
I
pick. You're
do
like,
love
you
him. You
didn't do
know
your
that.
research. And so I
Right.
really wanted to prove that no, I do my research. I don't always go with the gut instinct. And my God, I just really wanted your guy that you love so much to defeat you.
Mhm.
And he didn't. He shit the bed.
No.
And La
He
Quinta
missed the
came
cut,
around
man. He
and
missed the
he
cut,
didn't do
man.
shit. And I'm
Yeah.
going, as soon
Cut.
as La Quinta happened, Bobby, I'm like, oh, I'm in trouble. I'm in really bad trouble
That's how
because
I
that
felt.
that was his course to really get after it. I mean,
Right.
that's
That's
your
how I
that's your 6,700 yard country club. Just put it
felt.
in play and then hit
Pure
an approach
greens.
shot, make a putt. Yeah, you're good.
Pure
You can
greens.
go super low, but
Well,
no.
I'm going to tell you this. Congratulations. You single-handedly stopped Brian Harmon. He misses about 2 cuts a year. So you're
Yeah,
responsible for one of them already. And
you're
you did
welcome,
do
Brian.
your research. You did do your research. He's a fucking baller. And I'm not baiting you. Every time I get paired with him, he's my favorite golfer to watch because he bucks the trend, because he looks like he's won more Kentucky Derbies than he has golf tournaments
It's
height-wise,
true. Love
And
it
he's
when he
just
plays
a
against Tony
lefty
Finau.
grinder, gets pissed off. And it's fun to see somebody that just goes out, doesn't pay attention to what's happening around him, and just plays their own game and stays in their own lane. So I am a Brian Harmon fan, but I was a bigger Siwoo fan last week because I know Siwoo's playing phenomenal golf
Yeah, son of a
right
bitch.
now. And I look for
Goddamn
Siwoo to
Sifu.
play pretty good at Torrey Pines. He made a run a
Oh,
few
is that your
years ago.
pick for the week?
No, fuck no. I'm not going back with him again. He's gonna run out of fucking gas. There ain't no kimchi in San Diego, bro. What's gonna fucking petro him? What's
Who
gonna
you
fuel
like
his
this
stuff?
week?
Well, I get to pick first, right?
You
Okay,
do.
so I'm gonna use this little angle right here. Going to my racehorse days, is that a Derby horse, you never have a Derby horse really ready like 2 races before the Derby, right? You always want it ready the first Saturday in May. So my Derby horse, who has been training hard the last 2 weeks, and I had to think about this
Oh boy.
off a little comeback, is Will
God,
Zalatoris
I knew you
this
were
week.
going Will
God, you
Zalatoris. It's a
motherfucker.
great one. And guess what?
God,
Wrong wind, Caddy. Wrong wind. Wrong wind.
you're taking Sunday?
I'll take it, son.
You did your research again.
Yes.
Yeah, you did. He was going to
Yeah.
win with me a few years ago. We were 5
Yeah.
shots off the lead, and all of a sudden we were tied for the lead when we were turning. I told you that story. We were 6 or 7 under through 9 holes, and we got to number 9. He had a little silly little 6-footer to I'd take a 1-shot lead, and then he missed that. And then he made a par, and he made a bogey, and he made a double on 12. Because you think that golf course is hard, you can get like the front side, right? You can get the front side at Torrey for the first, I'm going to say the first 3 holes, really, you can get maybe the first 4. After that, you buckle up. But if you hit in the fairway there, you can get that golf course, because the par 5s, other than that fucking monstrosity, number 13 at 697 yards that Reese Jones redid for the US Open, that we can't fucking figure out why he did that. And then you lay up to a complete blind drop that goes about 9,000 miles fucking down with a fairway that's 13 yards wide, and it's pelted with fucking divots from where everybody laying up in the same spot. And if you miss your layup into the rough, you literally have no chance, because you're going 90 feet back uphill again, and you fucking hack
That
it out.
tee shot is brutal.
Listen, can I say this though? Put us back on that fucking regular tee, because what do people like to watch? Guys going for the fucking green
Oh,
and 2. I'm not just
100%.
talking about fucking Jon Rahm or 5 Super Bombers. I'm talking about let fucking 60 guys drive it in the fairway and see if they can play a little chess and miss in the right spot or knock it on their green. If people love it, it's good for TV. Do something with 13 Torrey Pines, please. Get rid of that tee, lease it out to Black's Beach, and let the nudists hang out there for
I'm
fucking
with you on that one
2
all
hours of the
day,
day.
Bobby.
What a joke.
I played it after the Open,
Yeah.
and it's a long ways.
It's not even right. It's not even a fucking golf hole. It's funny. We caddies always say, you want to make a golf course tough? Doesn't have to be long. Grow the rough up 6 inches, Matt. Make the greens firm. That'll make the best players in the world feel like average players for 45 minutes
Exactly.
every single day. So I got Will Zalatoris.
And I got wrong wing cat. Now, was that Lance who was with Scotty at the time? Am I right on that one, or
Scotty.
is Scotty Scheffler when?
No, Lance was Davis Riley. Lance
did-
he's got his hands full there.
No,
Lance is
no,
Davis
no.
Riley.
When the whole wrong wind, who was that walking down the? Because you were in the same group. We talked about it on the podcast. with them on. Was that it? Wasn't Scotty McGinnis? Wait, who caddied for Scotty Scheffler? Because it was Scotty
It was Scotty
Scheffler.
McGinnis. Scotty McGinnis.
It was
Yeah.
Scotty McGinnis. Okay,
Yeah.
so it was
Oh,
Scotty
talking
McGinnis
about
and
yeah,
Scotty.
talking
Yeah,
about
yeah,
me
yeah, yeah.
Sungjae with the wrong. Yeah. And
Yeah. They're like, yeah,
yeah.
no, that wind was 100% coming in from the
So
right.
you're going with Sungjae. Is that
Just so
official?
that that's official. Just so that I can sit there
You're
and
jumping
go,
off the
wrong
stage.
pick, caddy, wrong pick, caddy. That's what I'm gonna do all next week.
There's a lot of horses. There's a lot of horses for courses in this field,
Well,
Jason
Will
Day.
Zalatoris is a good one too.
Yeah, well,
I'll give you that.
he is. No, that is a good one because I feel like he's getting ready to, with
He
this
is.
tournament and Scottsdale and Riviera coming up. I feel like the Derby horse never fucking has his best shit 2 races before the Derby unless he's absolutely the best. But there's a lot of horses for courses out here. Like I just said, Jason Day, Rosie, Ryan Palmer plays phenomenal here. I'm going to give a little stock as a long shot into Saeed Thagala this week. He's a Chino boy. He grew up in Poana. He's a big, strong, thoroughbred. And I'm going to give him a little stock. But Jon Rahm is by far, I'm looking at something right here. Jon Rahm is by far the humongous favorite, right?
Yeah.
He's selling all these tickets right now.
I think he's plus 380, which is like the lowest
Jeez,
odds that
isn't it usually what is a heavy
I've seen
favorite?
since Tigers days.
650 is probably like a heavy favorite, right?
Yeah.
Now this guy is almost half of that. They had, this starts the Big Boy Monday qualifiers too, right? Where you get everybody starts to Monday.
I got a good one
gets
for you.
in,
Already, you son of a bitch.
Spencer Levine.
Yeah.
He's the absolute ghost. He doesn't fire the heaters. He has 2 kids. He has two new kids. And I will tell you, I texted him last week because he texted me last week. Here's a random one for him. He texted me last week because I did a couple stages of Q school for him a few years back. One went really good. One didn't go good, but he will pay. We have history all the way back to Spyglass Hill and NCGA events when I was working for this legend, Randy Haig, and he was 16 years old with the darts, and he's got a divorced mom and dad. One's on one side of the fairway, the other's on the other, screaming at each other. We had ball markers, ball washers back then. He's beating the shit out of those, and he'd always beat my guy like 2-1 or 1 up. So we've been really, really good friends for a while. But he texted me last week because he's like, bro, I hate to do this. And I'm like, what this is all about? He goes, you remember when I paid you $3,000 for that? That's what I got paid for doing a stage of Q school, right? $3,000. And I'm like, yeah, but I bought lunch at the Mexican joint every day. He goes, oh, my account. And he talks like this. No, bro. It's like, bro, I hate doing this, bro, but my account wants your social security information. I'm like, what kind of accountant do you have, dude? It was $3,000 and we didn't even get through. But hats off to fucking Stein. I hope he plays good when he gets these opportunities. He usually makes the cut, but he gets fucking pissed out there, and he was in these Corn Ferry Tour finals, and he bogeyed the last hole to get full Corn Ferry Tour status. He's at like 200. He's so many starts away or only a few cuts away from being fully vested on the PGA Tour. So what I don't know what that means, but it's a lot of money per month for the rest of your life is what it is. It's the retirement. It's the creme de la creme retirement. So I'm hoping he can keep his shit together and realize there's something fun about playing golf courses, Matt, where you make 3 or 4 pars in a row. I've said it before, and you're like, we're gaining, right? We're fucking gaining. We're gaining on him. The kid who won the Monday qualifier, everybody should know, his name's Caleb Surratt. He's a fucking freshman at Tennessee. I think he's played in 2 PGA Tour events. I think he missed the cut last week at the American Express, but he made the cut, maybe finished 60th or something at 18 or 19 years old in Bermuda. But he is a freshman and a name to watch. He's going to be some kind of player. They got some kind of program. Boy, Tennessee is like turning into this dominant sports school all of a sudden, whether it's, men's basketball, men's football or whatever. And the golf team is just, it's been going through the roof. So those are the 2. I don't know much about the other 2 Mondays, but I was just super stoked to see. And we don't call him Spencer Levine. You know what we call him? Stein, because he used to be super cheap, like eat appetizer food at the Holiday Inn Express and stuff like that while he's having a couple beers and taking a cigarette break. So we nicknamed him Stein, but he's obviously paid me $3,000 for a Q school stage, a second stage of Q school, but he's no longer Stein. He's grown out of Stein. But if you ever meet him, if I ever introduce you to him and somehow he gets through the Monday at Scottsdale and he's there and you show up on the same day, I'm going to introduce him to him. And I just want you to go, Stein, I'm a huge fan of yours. And he will fucking start rolling because he is NorCal funny motherfucker who also looks like he's won more derbies than he has golf tournaments because he's all a 5'6", 5'7", uses these 10, 12-year-old clubs. He's got like a 15-year-old 3-wood in there. And I'm like, man, you want to upgrade? He's going, don't say it. Don't say it. Don't cast that voodoo on my club.
You know, I feel like it was the first time you came on the pod.
Yeah.
And literally I talked about the one time I tried to Monday qualify for the BC Open, and guess who I played the practice round with? Fucking Stein. Dude.
He's like, bro.
Unbelievable how many
bro?
cigarettes this kid can smoke in
You'd
the
be like
course
this.
of
What's
18
your name,
holes.
bro? Where are you from, bro? Oh, bro. You know, you just keep fighting, bro. I mean,
Yeah,
I
we
wish
had
I
a
could be
great
good at
time.
that. Yeah,
I mean, shit, he's a cool dude.
Yeah, dude, he's a fucking he's a blast. We've already
But
been
hang on a
over an
second.
hour.
Torrey Pines for Stein.
Yeah.
That's like a
Maybe.
US Open course. And guess who loves US Opens?
Yeah, well,
Stein.
he showed up on that map at it was Shinnecock back in the day when he was an amateur, right? And he made the hole-in-one. He was playing with Goosen and had a really super duper.
He loves tough courses.
Yeah, and then he played. It's funny. That legendary his video, like he hits a shot out of the rough. This was at Oakmont, right? This because I followed him around at Oakmont. I was there with Kokrak, who played pretty good last time we were at Oakmont when DJ won, and he's just a good buddy of mine, you know. So I'm like, oh, hey, I'm gonna go walk 9 holes with you because it's Oakmont, and you want to see it as many times as you can, right? And he's bitching and moaning the whole way, but that's where that epic video came out, where he hits a shot out of the right rough. You know what I mean? And he's posing, and gets a bad kick or something like that. And he just bends over and he starts beating the club in the ground. Have you ever seen that video? It's fucking got probably like 8 million views.
God.
Yeah.
Dude, Stein. I didn't know his nickname was Stein, but that's fantastic.
Bro.
Yeah, he's got some issues out there for sure. He's more of a head case than I am.
I'm gonna transition you over into LIV Golf.
Oh, here we go. So guess our LIV Golf updates tonight. So the first part is, how about the TGL, which is the new simulator team event that Tiger's putting together?
I don't know shit about that.
I love the fact that now they're coming out with player announcements that they've signed.
Yeah.
Colin Morikawa and Adam Scott. And I can only laugh because it's like, man, this is exactly what LIV Golf does. We do not need to be going down this path, guys. We know if they're a top player on the PGA Tour, they're probably like willing to sign immediately for that because it's only a select group of guys. So that's the first part. Second part, the official World Golf Rankings, which you're the one that tipped me off on this. Jay Monahan and Keith Pele recuses themselves on LIV Golf on the decision that's being made around that entire thing. Yeah, because they're both on the board of directors for the official World Golf Rankings, so they don't want any type. I mean, there's already been antitrust and all that stuff going around from LIV and so forth, so they want no part of it. They're like, hey, just recuse us from the decision here. But there's been a lot of criticism about the official World Golf Rankings in addition to that.
Well, yeah, we went over that a little bit, but can I tell you about however you spell it? Pele, rest in peace, or Keith Pele, however you say it. It's the right thing to do to get out of there, right? Bring in some other guys that don't have that interest where the war, it's not in the middle of the Civil War right now, and let, you know, they still have to figure out how to get Monday qualifiers and that kind of stuff. And it doesn't sound, I know they're going to announce their 48-man roster here coming up pretty soon. I can't hardly wait to see who the new additions are. I mean, we know Mito's one of them, but I don't look for any other, you know, well, that's a whole nother topic that we got coming up here in a few minutes of what we think our Pull Hook Golf, Bobby Brown, Matt Cook conspiracy theories. But my point is, it's the right thing for them to do, because these guys got to get this shit together and get 72 holes and not be an exhibition anymore. And yeah, Dustin Johnson is not the 43rd best player in the world. We all know that. You know, Cam Smith's still hanging in there because he has so many world ranking points for his Yahtzee last couple of years and that kind of stuff. But they dropped their schedule too. Did you see that?
They dropped did. The schedule. You want me to list it off here? Because we've got
because there's only one I really want to comment. There's only two things I really want that surprise the shit out of me that I want to comment about, but go ahead and fire.
Well, first off, February 24th through the 26th.
Yeah.
We've got El Camaleon Golf Club in Playa
Okay,
del
we don't
Carmen,
need it. We don't
Mexico.
need it that formal. We don't need every
We've
intro
got
over 1
the
minute.
Gallery Golf Club down in Tucson after that.
We used to have the match play there. That's where I tell the famous
It's a
story.
great club.
That's where I told you Dustin Johnson couldn't win a match for 5 years because Bob, I can't pick out a cactus to aim at, bro. It's like 800 of them, Bob.
We've got Orange County National, the Crooked Cat in Orlando.
That's the one I want to talk about.
Talk about it.
Biggest fucking dog track on the fucking planet.
Wow.
Horrible shape. New owners went in. I don't think it's Trump, but new owners went in. It's in dog shit shape. This is where we used to have final stage of Q school years ago, the Crooked Cat and the Panther on the other side. The Panther's the tough one. But I was shocked to hear that they would go to such a low brow. Now, I'm saying that right now because they're having the PGA merchandise show, and that's the range that they use for the PGA merchandise show. So that they do have a phenomenal range of practice facility, but I was just fucking shocked. You know what else about Crooked Cat? Remember I told you I caddied. Remember the guy that threw up that big money challenge last 2 years and didn't pay the players? The guy that's in all the big trouble. That's where I went and worked at that big money challenge last year or a year and a half ago for that kid from LSU that I liked so much, Louis Gagne, and he got stiffed out of $3,800. And he's like, these golf courses are fucking shit. So they're playing a fucking dog track. Carry on. I interrupted you.
Well, that's to get ready for the Masters for those guys. So congratulations, guys. You're going to go from Orange County National, the Crooked Cat, right on your way to Augusta National. So well
don't
done
get caught
there.
in that Disney World traffic either, boys. and there ain't no place to stay that's good there.
Then you got the Grange Golf Club in Adelaide, Australia. So they're heading over to Australia. Then they're going to go to Singapore, play the Sentosa Golf Club. Then they're coming all the way back over to the U.S., going to play Cedar Ridge Country Club in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Then they're going to go to Trump National Golf Club in Washington, D.C. That's actually a good track. Then in June, July, we've got Valderrama.
Good track.
Then right after that, we've got the Centurion Club in London. That's great. Okay. The Old White Course. So that's in West Virginia.
Greenbrier.
That's the Greenbrier. Yep, that's the Greenbrier.
Cool course. You know, it's a cool little course. Somebody's gonna rip it up. Dustin also had no luck there whatsoever. God, I wish I was a professional gambler. I could think of two or three courses on this live. They don't take live action, then I would just hammer against fucking Dustin Johnson. Watch, he'll probably win them. Greenbrier Hotel is famous for that bunker too, you know, in case there was a nuclear war or whatever. Yep. And that fucking crazy ass governor, Jim Justice, owns it. I'm sure that's why the PGA Tour pulled its contract with 6 years left, because he's such a douchebag. And the hotel, you roll up to this hotel and you're like, oh my God, it's like The Shining or something, right? What a fantastic hotel. And you go downstairs and there's Ralph Lauren and everything. And then you go in the rooms and you're like, what? This is the same furniture that was here the year that the fucking bunker was built in 1960 or 1970. So it's nothing special.
They got a great bowling alley too, Bobby.
They do.
I spent a lot of time at the Greenbrier. I had one of my college roommates. His family lived just outside of the Greenbrier area in West Virginia.
White Sulphur Springs.
We used to go down all the time and go to the Greenbrier. Great spot.
I will say it's a cool course. It has like square bunkering and some square greens and that kind of stuff. And it's kind of tight. Kevin Chappell shot 59 there his first week back after having surgery there.
Pretty easy golf
years ago. They also have indoor tennis courts that are really nice there. And they have a couple clay courts, if I'm not mistaken, too. Yeah. So that's always cool when you go watch good tennis players play on.
Great carpets throughout the joint. Great carpets. You feel like you in each room.
How gross are those?
Oh my God, they're so bad. You feel like you're coming straight out of the or The Shining for that matter. But I was going to go Twilight Zone, and each room has like old school, rich like carpeting. Yes. Ridiculous patterns everywhere. It can really make you dizzy if you start getting really fucked up.
I can tell you, you're forced to stay there pretty much as a caddy, and you'll put 3 caddies in a room there because it's so overly priced, but it's so historical, right? And it's the ladies that clean the rooms. The best thing about caddies were the shampoo and the conditioner and stuff come in those cool Greenbrier round things, you know, with their symbol, and they give us like bags of 20, right? So we wouldn't even have to buy shampoo and body wash for like fucking 2 months out of that. They got a casino there. That's
Yeah.
good for Dustin
Yeah.
Johnson. Paulina will be in there. Fucking Janet Jones Gretzky will be in there markering up. I'm sure of
Gotta
that.
love
And
that.
they had that nice steakhouse where you have to wear a sport coat mandatory. You wanna see something funny
I
when the
tried to
people-
get a dinner
So
there once
listen,
without.
I took Lori there once, and Riker when he was it was the cutest thing. I had I do have good memories there because, well, two things. Number one, they have a Tory Burch downstairs, and they give the players and everybody, you get like 60% off. So Lori would go clean up on Tory Burch because it's all the rage, right? And also my little guy, that was his first time on the road with us, and you remember how big the closets were in there. So we made like this little mini baby room in the closet, and I'm like, I know this kid's going to be successful because he's infatuated with the safe in there, right? He kept putting his toys in the safe and pretending like he was locking it and shit. And I'm like, hey, did you check your wallet and make sure Junior's not?
Kid savvy. He's got street smarts already.
Yeah. Okay, get back to the schedule. Sorry.
Well,
I was talking about the sport coat thing in the steakhouse. So I'm taking Lori. We're gonna go to date night. We got a babysitter. They got babysitters there for just 1 hour, right? We're just 1 hour. And they're like, "Oh, sir, you need a sport coat." And I'm like, "What?" And I was dressed fresh, like seersucker pants, and
oh,
I look fresh. I can do it up. I clean up well.
Straight Charleston.
No, fuck off.
Were you wearing a bow tie?
No, I wasn't wearing but they're big there. So we go to dinner, and the guy's like, "Oh, sir, you need a sport coat." And I'm like, "I don't have a sport coat." And he goes, "We have them." And he gave me this like 54 large. You should have seen me in this thing walking through there. Everybody's making fun of me. I tried to put my hands in my pocket and tuck it back. I look like the fucking Batman. We saw Lionel Richie the next night there too.
Lionel Richie.
Yeah, Lionel Richie. That's a weird story. Go ahead.
Well, after the Greenbrier, which I mean,
yeah.
people, if you want to chat with us after the show and talk to us about the Greenbrier, we're happy to share all the descriptions.
Sure. Don't go.
But then they got Trump National in Bedminster, so coming right back around. Rich Harvest Farms. It's basically the exact same as last year. So the last four. Then you got Trump National Doral, and then you've got the very, very last, which I guess this is the switch up, right? Yeah. Is Saudi Arabia and Jeddah. So
well, there's two switch ups. Here's their first mistake, right? The Miami tournament was big because it was the end of the whole team thing that we were all interested in, and it's Miami, and you got people. What the fuck are they thinking finishing that in Saudi Arabia? How many hundreds of people are they going to have? They're not going to have anybody there, and that's supposed to be their marquee end of the year shebang. And will the caddies get paid out of the team money? Sorry, caddies, it ain't happening for you this year. But you know what the biggest thing that surprised me was? Their biggest tournament, technically, people wise and attendance wise, was fucking Chicago. That Dustin rolled in that 100-mile-an-hour fucking eagle that should have gone off the green. And
Rich Harvest Farms.
And what is it?
Rich Harvest Farms.
No, it's not back on the schedule. The Chicago one. No, okay. One of them is not. Are you sure it's Chicago?
That's the Rich Harvest Farms one. That's what they played last year. That DJ one.
Okay, then I'm thinking of another tournament that they didn't go back that got the most attendance, and maybe I don't know who won that tournament, and they're not going back there this year. We're gonna have to do some research.
I will.
Yeah,
I will have that for us on the very next episode because I know what you're talking about.
Yes, but I thought it was the one the DJ won. Are you?
You know what? I might be off on the one that he won.
Yeah,
I don't think he won the Rich Harvest Farms.
No, he won something else, and it was their biggest attendance event, and they didn't go back, which leads me to believe that somebody.
Oh, that was the one in Boston, wasn't it?
Boston,
that's what it was. Yeah, they're not going back to Boston.
Yeah, so Boston don't like it as Saudi Arabia's.
No, they had some issues out there with that tournament.
So anyways, what else? What else is on the LIV thing?
We've got Almasor who decided, hey guys, peace out. Now, here's my conspiracy theory, which everybody's talking about. Well, Greg's taking on a bigger role now. He's taking on this big role within LIV Golf. He's moving up in the world, right?
Although he didn't take that guy's title, his title stays the same, Greg, for the record, right?
Correct.
He's just supposedly going to fill those shoes too, right?
Supposedly. So here's my conspiracy: is that if you are in this business and behind the scenes, if you're the board of directors and so forth, you're going to start, if you know this thing is tanking, If you know this thing's going to go under, bad business deals, you're paying a TV network. If this doesn't just absolutely crush it this year, and granted, there's always the caveat of money. It's like Elon Musk said with Twitter. I have endless amounts of money to where I'm just going to make sure that it survives and works.
Right.
Saudi Arabia can do that with LIV Golf. So that's the one caveat. I throw that in there. But my conspiracy theory is this, that they are setting up Greg Norman to be the entire fall guy. That the Saudis are removing themselves out of this entire scenario so that the whole failure and everything doesn't fall on them. That they're going to point right to Greg Norman and go, hey, listen, we had people that left. Our guy who's running and he runs Saudi Golf, Al-Masur. So with him distancing himself from LIV Golf on this entire thing, I have a feeling that they're setting up Greg to be a big time fall guy. I mean, this is going to be a worse disaster than Greg at the Masters. Okay.
That's a big disaster.
It's a big disaster.
You know what I think is weird about this too is that when he did resign, like they weren't talking about it. None of the LIV guys were talking about it. And then all of a sudden the schedule breaks. Norman's going to assume both roles, and they put this Soror guy supposedly on the board. Like he's still going to help. He's on the board, whatever that means. Almost like it was pre-planned that it was going to happen this way, but I really don't think it was pre-planned, because they would have said that.
No chance.
They would have said that originally. Oh, he's going to go to the board and he'll be on the board of directors, and he's going back, and concentrating on the Saudi Golf Federation and a couple other things, sports things. I think they're in Saudi that he has his hands on. So let's wait and see. That they're going to drop here in any day their 48-man roster, and we know Mito Pereira is going.
Mito's going. You've got a theory on one of the guys that we've said is going, but
I heard something that somebody that was in the field at Torrey Pines. Somebody was in the field originally, early commitments, and this could be this is rumors that I think is a rumor that I think could be true, and it's a mega star that they just throwed a boatload of money at, and he's getting ready to go. So I can't figure out for the life who it is. And I know these Aussies guys have beaten the shit out of me, our fans, saying I'm talking about my Cantley smack, but Brooks Koepka lied and said he wasn't going to, right? In that whole US Open thing. So take that, Saudi guys. But maybe it's Cantley, because he usually plays here at Torrey Pines. He's a California boy. He's a Poana specialist. He usually plays at Pebble Beach. When Troy tried to win there last year, he was putting the squeeze along with Spieth on us, a couple holes behind us. And I noticed he doesn't show up in that field, but he does show up in the Scottsdale field on PGA Tour links and the Riviera field. So I don't know if that's going to be true. I don't know if this is a true rumor or not. I also heard a rumor last week that there was a player that they threw a pretty good offer at, and after something happened, they rescinded it and tried to cut it in half. And this player told him, "Fuck you, I'm going to try and investigate that and get some names on it." And
Bobby, get that dirt, buddy.
I can't think of for the life of me what the reason was, but there was like a funny reason why, like maybe they were getting close to sign this big guy and they didn't want to spend money on this other guy that I'm talking about. But let me get on that.
Get some digging done there, Bobby.
You got any Patrick Reed gossip? Shit went down.
Listen, there's one thing I got left tonight.
Okay,
which I'm running on fumes. Patrick Reed ends up. Right. This wasn't intentional, but he was pissed off at a tee shot out there in their practice round, right?
Pro-am, probably.
Yeah, it was like a pro-am. They called it like a warm-up round or something like that out there in Saudi. I don't understand. It's a practice round. So he gets all pissed off of a tee shot, throws his tee, smokes Rory McIlroy, and just Rory doesn't react at all. Just like, what a
That's not the story I heard.
Oh, well, do share yours.
Okay, so the story I heard was he was walking across a putting green and Rory was like squatting down with his caddy, Harry Diamond, was standing there too. And Patrick like walked by and tried to get like Rory's attention, like to say what's up. And Rory was just shining him on, looking down. And then he went to Harry Diamond. This is a story I heard. And he went to Harry Diamond and Harry's like, "Oh, hey, what's up, Pat?" And Patrick, like, what's up? And I guess Patrick stood there next to Rory for like 30 seconds or a minute trying to get his fucking attention. And Rory just was like, I'm not going to give you the fucking time of day. And he took a tee, turned around, took a tee out of his pocket and threw it at Rory to try and get his attention.
How
That's the
about
story that I heard. Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
more drama than mine. Holy
Yeah.
cow.
And
I'm
you
just
know, Rory,
fabricating stories over here, folks.
that's okay, bud. I'm here for, hey, checks and balances. That's what this show is all about. Talking shit with checks and balances. So I've seen players do that before. Like they'll come across a putting green and they'll say hi to one of their buddies, and their buddy doesn't react because he's probably focusing or something. They'll take a tee, and these guys
flick a tee. Yeah.
they flick a tee at him or something like that, or they roll the ball at him or something like that. But this sounded like it was like
I must have misread that that little scenario.
Unless
there
that was somebody
place.
else's conspiracy theory, like some of mine that fall right through the tank.
How's Mark King doing? Where's
I don't
he
got
at?
nothing. I don't got nothing. The Aussie guys are probably going to
Bobby.
beat me up on that too, propping Mark King.
But you're still hearing that he's going?
I'm still hearing he's going to take some part in this whole situation unless your theory comes true where they're going to let.
I wouldn't touch this thing with a fucking 80-foot
King
pole. I don't
decided
care
why.
how much money that they would throw at me. It would have to be generational wealth that they would throw at me to touch that position, because
he's already got that, I'm sure.
You don't want the reputation that's going to come with that thing crashing and burning, which is why, by the way, that's entirely why I think, I mean, they're paying the CW to broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they're going to get more people watching LIV Golf on the CW than what they were getting from watching on YouTube?
So
it's easier to watch on YouTube.
I asked Lori this the other day. I go, I have never heard of the fucking CW. And she's like, that's where I watch Pretty Little Lies or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Pretty Little Liars.
She goes,
got One Tree Hill.
It targets a young teenage female group, she says, is what it is, which means she's probably not a teenager. I'm not that guy, but she was at one point. But you know, I don't know. They had to get on. They make it sound like it's such, you know, and I like his kid, Greg Norman Jr., but some of the tweets he pulls out to get his dad's back, he's like, after a contested bidding war. And I'm like, contested bidding war?
Nobody wanted to touch it.
No, not with a fucking 10-foot.
And then
ball.
you guys got to pay them.
Jeez.
It's uncanny. Like what's actually taking
and your final
place
and your final team events in Saudi Arabia? What? I don't understand that. Jesus Christ.
Well, did you know that the National Press Club actually came down and put out a press release against the CW network for even accepting money from LIV Golf because of what happened to the reporter over there? So Jamal Khashoggi, back in October of 2018, obviously everybody knows what happened there, where, I mean, that was a Washington Post journalist, and in media, you can't touch these people for things that they say. And I mean, it's very apparent what happened there with the murder and so forth. So they came down hard on the CW and their parent company, which is Nexstar Media Group. I mean, read that press release when you get a chance, folks, and Bobby, you as well. But man, that's they even said it is this. It is such a shameful PR stunt as LIV Golf, which is fundamentally designed to rehabilitate the Saudi reputation tarnished irreparably by the state-ordered gruesome murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. So there you go. I mean, you can't sum it up much more than that right there. It's a hard look for everybody, and that is one of the reasons why. And by the way, the National Press Club, just for reference here, all of these big networks and so forth, they all have their executive staff that are a part of this. It was founded in 1908, Bobby. Founded in 1908. So it's a pretty well-established professional organization for journalists, and they are not happy. It's pretty safe to say. So that's where we're going to leave it for tonight.
Well, let's end it. Well, yeah, we got to end it because I'm tired and I'm back into Better Call Saul. I'm on a Better Call Saul binge. I stopped at season 4 and I stopped at season 4. So I'm now back. I'm 2 in, but I want to end this. And I said it earlier in the show, whoever you are that sent Matt that message that lives in the Greyhawk community next where Pat and Ashley Perez, I love you, bro. Whatever you need, I got you. Recap next week. Another
Bobby,
recap next week.
enjoy. Better call
Thanks.
Saul, and
Okay.
I'll talk to you next week.
See you, Matt. Thanks,
See you,
buddy.
Matt.
Have a great one. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to Season 2 of the Pull Hook Golf Podcast. Make sure to hit subscribe and go to www.pullhookgolf.com for more information.